Warning, disaster incoming.
What's up, everybody? My name is Daniel. You know me online as Disaster Dan, and today we're going to be talking about the new Dark Hero arc Challenger deck coming out. It has Izuku Midoriya, our sixth version of him, as the main character. He's a transforming character, and this is going to be a little bit different because this isn't going to be like a deck that I am building and playing myself, but this is more like a if you bought the one deck of this, how would you upgrade it? And this is like we're calling this budget beginnings, where I take the challenger deck and $15 and I upgrade it as much as I can within that $15. Uh, I have some cool choices. I think some things I couldn't put in because they were too much money, but we'll get into that. And yeah, thanks for watching the video. So before we get started getting to the deck, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the rules I put on myself for this. One, I'm only using one deck. I can't expect a person to spend $35 for one deck and then tell them to spend another $35 for a second deck. This is supposed to be a way to cheaply upgrade the one deck you buy at the store. Two, as many reasonable upgrades within the limit. I'm not just telling people to go get 3 Defiant Stance and move on. While Defiant Stance is a really good card in Deku, it is a $5 card, and I'm trying to keep this at a $15 limit. So you're going to see things that maybe you would see in more competitive builds that have like Keiko's Aid and Defiant Stance. Those aren't going to be here. This isn't supposed to be a competitive deck. This is supposed to be what you can upgrade with starting out with your new deck. And then most of the prices are from Rochester CCG. No prices are taken from buy-sell groups because those can fluctuate. People sell the cards for as much as they want to sell them. And everything's in US dollars because I'm from America and I don't know the conversion rate between American dollar and everything else. I just hope that the cards are also cheap for your area if you live outside the US. So before we get into the full deck, I just wanted to show the upgrades I put into the deck and the cards that the prices of what they are. So Command Pitch Flock, 3 of them, 75 cents. Falling Heel Strike, $1.20. As you can see, all of these cards, they are around like $1 per card, except for like Eater Boxes 2, but that's a really good card and you only need one of it. And this is totaled up to exactly $15, which is super cool. I was afraid that I wouldn't hit 15 exactly. But yeah, so let's get into the real deck. And yeah, here's the deck. So I put Float in the side here because it's not in the main deck. I want to talk about it a little bit. This card is very niche. It has the most like niche ability of the wielder foundations. So I'm just playing the seven other ones because I think they all have a good generic use. Now, if you want to play the 7th wielder as like a one of, just so you have the 8th name for this two copy of a card, then you can do that. Maybe you can just take out a Fa Jin for a 1 float, but I really like Fa Jin as a card, so I wanted to play that as a 3 of. And yeah, so the idea of this deck is that it's primarily charges. We have stuff like Leaping Right Hook. It's a cheap deadlock, but it's also can become a 6 high for 4 your character or 8 high for 2 that can draw you a card if it hits. Fajin Flurry. We only get 2 of this card because it is only 2 of in a deck because it's a rare. But the card is very good. And then other charges are the rest of the character, like all the cards here from his deck, Bullet Kick, the One for All, Smoke Screen, these are all charges. So the idea is Command Pigeon Flock, which is not a charge, but it builds an ally foundation from your discard. Well, all your wielder foundations are allies except for 8th wielder. So Command Pigeon Flock can build in most of those things. And then I also put in Team Stash, which is also an ally, which is commit your next charge or weapon gets +2 speed and +2 damage. So you're gonna give 2/2 to one of your charge attacks, and then you can do something like First Wielder One for All. When you flip, restand Team Stash, and then you can do it again for the turn after for the next attack. Another cool idea that that was with this deck is Buddy Val. So after this foundation is ready due to infect, you draw 1 card, discard one momentum for enhance, ready this card, or flip arrival momentum, playable while committed. So the first thing that comes up is for First Wielder One for All can restand it. So when you restand it, you'll draw one for when you flip over. But also, you have Fajin Flurry, which gives you a momentum once it gets a speed of bonus of 3 or greater. So when Izuku gives his speed to Fajin Flurry, it will get a momentum. You can use that momentum to give it EX3 to respond to get another momentum. And then you can use that momentum to restand Bloody Vow, which you've committed to the Izuku to give the 3 speed to begin with. So it's just a real nice, draw one loop for this, to make this a 6 high for 7, which is just really good. And then, the other things I wanted to mention is Falling Heel Strike. A lot of your foundations flip over. This helps you flip them back over to reuse their abilities. Reuse your First Wielders. Reuse Curious About Quirks was another card I put in here. It's flip after your rival plays a character ability, draw a card. Basically saying if your opponent plays the game with you, you draw one card. And so I try to get this in here to give a little bit more draw power to the character. And then we're playing all the other wielders at some varying numbers. Danger Sense is at a 2 of, Smokescreen at a 2 of, Black Whip at a 3 of, because this card is very good defensively and offensively. Fajin is my favorite foundation in the character. It does so much for your character. Give something 3 speed, give it 3 damage, put this momentum. Can really make this bullet kick very scary. An 8 high for 7, give a powerful 3, 8 high for 10. If you did Team Stash, that's now a 10 high for 12, which is just a big number. And then we also put a new training method in there. New training method's really good. Builds you an extra card in your build turns, but also if you need to get that ally, that wielder foundation, it can grab it for you. Like I said, this doesn't have ally, so you can't build this off of Command Pigeon Flock, but you can add it off new training method if you check it. So yeah, that's a way you can get back your 8th wielder to get you a little bit more draw power. Steadfast Resolve, just because it's a low block damage boost, it could be Nejire-chan. If you have extra money to invest, it can be Immoral Shapeshifter, but this is just a low block that I could play in the deck, and it also has relevant. It's relevant on both sides of the turn. I wanted something that could destroy your foundations because it lets you destroy your flipped ally foundations to rebuild a Pigeon Flocks, which is just really good. Practical Studies is another deadlock, but also it's a deadlock that can go with Fajin, giving it 3 speed for using it. Getting a momentum, seal a card. The deck didn't have any 0 diffs, so we're playing some 0 diffs. Second target at a 2 of, because this is like a 250. This card's like $1.30. And I couldn't put multiples in because more than 2 in because it put me over the 15. And then Triple Pro Hero, just a good 0/6 1 high block. It's gonna be really easy to block your opponent with this card. And then Smoke Swing Charge is a 3 of. We don't have Keiko's Aid. We don't have Soulful Rendition. So this is like our good defense trick when we want to block. Eden Box is just a good card. And Uramesh Perseverance. That's another one that I put in the deck as a 1 of. Fajin Flurry can sap you momentum, which means Fajin Flurry can get 3 speed off of your character and then guarantee you another attack, which is really good. And this is an ally that can be built off Command Pigeon Flock. And that's most of the deck. This character's very cool. The things I would suggest with it is, obviously, I would buy a second deck. Fajin Flurries are very good if you want to play 4 of this card. I would definitely recommend buying a second deck to get 2 more of this card, to get 2 more of Wielder One for All. Maybe play more First Wielder, because this is also just a 2 of, because it's rare in the deck. And then also, I'm sure Tattered Costumes are going to be good. The ults of these cards are probably going to be worth money. So buying a second deck isn't a bad investment, in my opinion. The other thing is, you want to get the other life cards. Keiko's Aid, Immoral Shapeshifter, Incredible Display. These things are really good defensive cards that, sadly, I couldn't put in this deck because they are worth their value, which is understandable because the cards are very good. Uh, but that is definitely some upgrades past the $15 I would suggest, and maybe you can cut out these leaping right hooks. Like if you get the Fodge and Flurries, I would probably just cut these leaping right hooks for 2 more Fodge and Flurries, and stuff like that. This is just because I don't have 4 of this to be able to play in the deck, and I don't know how much this card's going to be worth outside of the deck to be able to buy it for a single. And then my last thing is you've only invested $15 into this deck. You could just go into another direction with the character. This character has 5 symbols. You can build anything. You can build so much off of this character. Like there's so many different strategies this character gets to do, and you can play some of these cards that you put money into. On water, you can still play Falling Heel Strike. On good, you can still play Leaping Right Hook. You can still play Command Pigeon Flock on good. You can still play Urameshi's Perseverance on good. You can play Eden Box on water. You can play a lot of these cards you spent the $15 on to build into another deck to potentially go into another symbol. My personal favorite symbol with this character so far is Air, because you get Heroic Passion, which is a 3-diff commit. When it's 3-diff that if it gets committed for a cost based off of, like your character's committing it to give -3 speed, you get to draw a card. And then you still get Defiant Stance on Air. You get Requesting a Rematch on Air, which is when it's committed during the hand step, give this attack +1 or -1 damage. It's just like this character has so much you can do with it. So I definitely would recommend looking at the other symbols, and before you start spending more money on the on the life symbol, maybe going into the other symbols to see what they are. I did make this deck on life because all of his cards are on life. That is the one downside to his other symbols, is if you're gonna go to the other symbols, not all these wielder cards on every symbol. So you have to decide which symbol you prefer, because like if you play this on Air, you don't get to play Black Whip anymore, but you do get to play Fodge In. It's the checks and balances, the pros and cons of every symbol with the character that you have to choose. But yeah, that's the deck. I hope you guys try it out, or maybe you have different upgrades you want to do, or things like that. There's definitely other cards you could play in this deck that I may not put in here. And if that's true, leave a comment talking about what those cards are. I'm going to try to do this for every pre-con. We have the Tech Index coming, and I do want to do one for both Gen and June. And I just hope that this helps people, because when I got into other card games, the way I got in is I watched people who let me who told me what I can upgrade my structure deck with, and let me get a feeling of changing cards out, taking out stuff I like or dislike, and trying out other cards and stuff like that. And that's where I kind of want to put this to. So yeah, but that's everything, guys. So please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you guys on the next video. Thank you very much, and I'll see y'all later.